Hello everyone, today is 26th of July, now it's 9:30 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment. Although let's start with a few updates on special military operation. In southern flank of Donetsk sector, Russian forces are very close to establish full control over the settlement of Krasnohorivka, which is 90-95% already controlled by Russian forces, and it is also highly likely that Kyiv regime troops already left this northern western corner of their settlements. And if that's the case, then one may even argue that Krasnohorivka is basically under full Russian control now. I guess it will take a couple of days, and the Russian Defense Ministry will probably report about liberation of Krasnohorivka. Also, by the way, in Avdiivka direction, Russian armed forces continue their local-scale offensive operations, and now we have reports that settlement Volchye is under full Russian control on the southern side of Progress settlement. Kyiv regime forces suffered significant casualties in this direction, and I see even reports that Kyiv regime troops just collapsed. Kyiv regime troops collapsed in this direction and retreated in chaotic manner. I'm not there, of course, I cannot know for sure, but even Western media outlets are reporting about a desperate situation of Kyiv regime forces in Avdiivka sector of the front line, especially in Progress area, and Volchye, as I said, is on the southern flank of Progress. I guess a day or two, and Russian Defense Ministry will also confirm information about liberation of Progress. And when it comes to New York Toretsk direction, we also have reports from several sources that Russian armed forces achieve local-scale breakthrough in Toretsk directions, and Russian troops are closing in very fast, by the way, very fast to Toretsk itself. Most likely, it's just a matter of a week or two, and we will see military operations taking place inside the Toretsk city. This is it when it comes to short summary. There was no crucial changes, or at least I did not see reports about some crucial changes on Seversk direction at this point, on Kupiansk direction or northern parts of Kharkov region, in Lipsy, Volchansk direction. Although, of course, initiative is in Russian hands, and on daily basis Russian troops are increasing pressure on their adversaries. That being said, let's continue with some additional news. RIA Novosti is reporting that suspect of recent car bombing in Moscow that was arrested in Turkey during the interrogation said that he was coordinating with the SBU, which is Kyiv regime's secret service, and he had a meeting with the representative of the SBU, according to him, in Istanbul, in Turkey. But inside Russia, before he flee country inside Russia, he received from his curators from SBU explosives, detonators. He received order who to be targeted, and his order was to assassinate a Russian high-ranking military official, and that was his attempt to assassinate when he mined a car which exploded day before yesterday. That was, isn't it, on the northern part of Moscow. And well, basically he confirmed that behind this terrorist attack is SBU. He said that he was promised citizenship of Ukraine and from 10 to 20,000 US dollars. I mean, what you gonna say, man? This despicable individual should be and will be punished for his crimes against Russian society and against the Russian state. That's for sure. A video of his interrogation was published by Russian FSB which may be indicator that Turkish side already transfer this suspect to Russia, although it is also possible that Turkish security services share video of interrogation with the Russian colleagues, and this individual will be transferred to Russia in upcoming days. In any case, he himself is acknowledging that behind this terrorist attack is a Kyiv regime, which is not surprising absolutely. I spoke about possible involvement of the Kyiv regime secret services, and seems like that's exactly their case. Western ruling class created since 2014 after coup d'etat that was conducted by Western ruling class, basically, with active involvement of Washington and some major European capitals. They created a monster as a Kyiv regime, that monster that will bite them also now. Maybe Western ruling class were thinking that they are creating monster to use it as a proxy against Russia, and they use Ukraine, unfortunately, under strict control of Kyiv regime against Russia and sacrifice Ukraine. But this monster will bite. Just mark my word, by the way. This monster that Western ruling class created will start biting its masters also. It's only a matter of time, and you will hear about Ukrainian terrorism in European states and possibly in North America also. Just mark my word, by the way. TASS news agency is reporting that Russian air defense systems during their nighttime and early hours this morning intercepted 6 Kyiv regime drones over the Rostov and Kursk region. No reports at this point about casualties on the ground or more or less significant damage as a result of this yet another attempt of Kyiv regime to strike deep inside Russian territory. TASS news agency is also reporting about yet another US-made M1A1 tank being destroyed on the line of contact, and by the way, I have video of that. You can clearly identify Abrams tank on this video. It was already damaged, as I understand, by FPV drones or maybe artillery strike or ITGM strike. And then you can see clearly here, Russian Lancer drone is approaching and targeting this tanker, finishing off basically this Abrams. At this point, really, it's only like a few Abrams tanks are left as a battle capable in hands of Kyiv regime, I guess, and that's it. From 31 that was delivered to Kyiv regime according to reports, and therefore, I think it is highly likely that in upcoming days or weeks, Pentagon probably will make statement that they are delivering some additional Abrams tanks to Kyiv regime. TASS news agency is also reporting that according to article in Forbes, armed forces of Ukraine suffered a catastrophic defeat in Avdiivka direction in settlement progress area, and Forbes is in particular talking about total destruction of 31st Mechanized Brigade of Kyiv regime forces. When Western media outlets are unable to avoid such topics, that definitely indicates something, isn't it? That definitely indicates that Kyiv regime troops are on the brink of collapse. Give it another couple of months, and probably we will see this domino effect when defense lines of Kyiv regime will start crumbling all along the front line, and Kyiv regime formations, unit after unit, will start acting more chaotically, or start just running away without any orders. They are very, very close to this point. And as I mentioned in the beginning, in progress direction, Russian troops established control over their Volcha settlement on the southern side of progress, and Russian troops continue to advance. TASS news agency is also reporting that Russian permanent representative to UN, Vasily Nebezhny, made a statement about foreign mercenaries in Ukraine, and said that they are legit targets. And he was even more specific. He said that foreign instructors that are deployed to Ukraine are legit targets, and will, Russian side will take care of them. And it's already happening, by the way. It's already happening. Today I see reports about Russian strike in Chernigov direction. I shared on my Telegram this information, I believe, this morning, when point of concentration of Kiev regime forces were targeted, and there, according to some reports, dozens of foreign instructors or mercenaries were also present. Yesterday we had reports about Russian strike in Kharkiv direction, where on the point of concentration of Kiev regime forces were about 60 Kiev regime militants, and about 40 foreign mercenaries or instructors were neutralized. And day before that we also had reports about elimination of about 50 foreign mercenaries. So Russian side is not just issuing warnings, but Russian side clearly taking care of those mercenaries. And at this point, probably we wouldn't be mistaken if we will say that number of casualties on part of NATO troops, even if they are disguised as mercenaries, is hundreds and hundreds, by the way. I wonder how longer Western countries will manage to hide this topic from the public. Yes, they are in control of the so-called media in the West, and without permission, no media outlet will publish any information about death of foreign mercenaries or foreign instructors, most likely members of NATO military. But at some point, this number will increase so much so that public itself will start demanding answers in the West. This is going to happen. Anyways, let's continue. And Polish foreign minister is predicting very difficult winter for Ukraine, and he shared some numbers even, by the way. He said that before special military operation, Kiev regime was able to generate some 37 gigawatt of electricity. On autumn 2023, about 18 gigawatt of electricity, and on spring 2024, Kiev regime lost another capabilities to generate another 7 gigawatts. So right now, according to calculations of Sikorsky, foreign minister of Poland, Kiev regime is only able to generate about 10-11 gigawatts of electricity, which is clearly not enough for the Kiev regime, and its neighbors, including Poland, probably will continue to provide Kiev with power, at least for the time being. But Sikorsky also said, head of foreign minister of Poland, yesterday also said that in Poland and in Europe in general, such conditions have to be created for citizens of Ukraine that they will leave for Ukraine. He said it openly, by the way, that they're gonna create such conditions for Ukrainian refugees. First of all, military age male refugees, although it's a families, isn't it? So they intend to create such deplorable conditions for refugees from Ukraine that they will be forced to go back to Ukraine, and then of course these male refugees will be catch forcefully mobilized and sent to their battlefield to be sacrificed for geopolitical agenda of the West. And by the way, this person, this despicable individual, foreign minister of Poland, Radosław Sikorski, is saying this openly about refugees, you know. And same time, these very same people, by the way, in the West are trying to pretend that they care about human rights and excuse me, human rights and democracy and pluralism in Ukraine, and that's why they are supporting Kyiv regime, isn't it? That's their formal agenda, that, you know, we are not a part of war, but we support democracy, you know, to prevail. We support Ukrainian democracy, we support Ukrainians, and that's what, same time, that's what they do. They want now to force, basically, Ukrainian refugees to run away from Poland, from Europe. And they will do it, by the way. I predict that this will happen, right? Veterans of our community know perfectly well that I was saying for a long time that eventually European states will start creating such conditions for Kyiv regime, for refugees from Ukraine, that they will be forced to go back to Ukraine or to flee Europe, right? And that's exactly what is going to happen. And also, by the way, I think we are closing into the point when EU member states will start mass deporting military age male refugees from European states. We clearly are, I mean, very close to that point. And they will come up with justification. They will come up with justification, by the way. Those despicable people in leadership of collective West, with very few exceptions, by the way. RT is reporting that NATO member is summons Russian envoy over drone fragments. So Romanian Foreign Ministry summoned Russian summoned Russian diplomat on Thursday after accusing Moscow of flying military drone into its airspace. Romanian officials said earlier that pieces of UAVs were found in the eastern part of the country. Russian diplomat was summoned in connection to the fragments of the drone used by Russian armed forces in the attacks on Ukrainian port infrastructure. The foreign ministry said, well, I saw some videos, by the way. Of course, I cannot identify area. Is it Romania or is it Kyiv controlled parts of Ukraine? But if it's Romania, then yes, Romanian foreign ministry had every right to summon Russian diplomat and express protest for this. But same time, Bucharest understands, of course, that Russian side is not targeting Romania. Russian side is targeting logistics and military infrastructure of the Kyiv regime, and this particular incident was occurred, I believe, when Russian troops conducted strike, just like yesterday or day before yesterday, on Ismail. By the way, this is the Ismail, and military and logistics infrastructure of Kyiv regime was targeted in this city, including portal infrastructure. And Ismail is, of course, located on a Danube River. On one bank of Danube River in this area, it's Kyiv-controlled territory of Ukraine. On the other side is Romania. And it is highly likely that some drones were damaged, and as a result of it, damaged by air defense work in Ismail area, and fragments may fail on Romanian side, or maybe drone itself, as a result of damage and malfunction, might fail in Romanian side. Unfortunate accident. And well, in this particular case, yes, I can understand that Russian ambassador or Russian diplomats, I'm not quite sure if Russian ambassador is physically present right now in Romania, but Whatever the case, yes, I can understand why Bucharest is not happy about it, but same time, by the way, you should keep in mind that Bucharest is used by Western ruling class right now as one of the major logistical hubs in this proxy war against Russia. So one should not expect too much sympathies from Russian public towards Romania at this point, because Romania, yet again, Romania being used by Western ruling class as a major logistical hub against Russia. Anyways, let's continue. And also interesting news that major nuclear powers express their opinions why they are not really very keen to get rid of nuclear weapons. I'll give you a short summary. I translated it. So 5 official nuclear powers have explained to their world community the lack of progress in nuclear disarmament. Their delegations made statements to this effect at the season of the preliminary committee for the review conference of the Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, currently underway in Geneva. Geneva, Switzerland, right? Russia explained that it does not intend to reduce its nuclear weapons unless there are preliminary collective efforts to rectify the acute negative situation in the world affairs. United States assured that it is ready to discuss this topic, but allegedly Russia and China do not want it. China responded that it's United States and Russia, which poses 90% of the world's nuclear weapons, and they should disarm. France got off with their vulgar formulations, and Great Britain, or United Kingdom, stated that its nuclear weapons are already at minimum. So that's the current situation, by the way, when it comes to nukes, major nuclear powers. Although I think it is necessary whenever these talks are taking place, India and Pakistan to be also presented, and because they are nuclear powers, obviously. After all, we need to know for sure if Israel has or has not nuclear weapons, and should be present whenever there are some talks about nukes, if Israel really has nukes, and most likely it does. And by the way, lately it is become acknowledged by world that North Korea also poses a few dozens of nuclear bombs, and therefore whenever some talks are taking place about nuclear weapons, North Korea should be presented also. All nuclear powers should be part of negotiations if there will be any serious talks. But right now it seems like from these statements of the parties that nobody is really keen to disarm. So yes, before I continue, dear friends, let me notice, if I may, that this small media project of mine is completely subscriber funded, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to support my work with donations through PayPal, Boosty, with crypto, or by subscribing to my Patreon page or Boosty page, for that matter, dear friends. On Boosty you can send donation, and also you can subscribe, and I have some bonus content on Boosty also, and of course Patreon is much more developed, my Patreon page, and unfortunately yesterday and day before yesterday there was no new members in our Patreon community, which is sad. So please consider to join our community on Patreon. Also, monthly subscription starts from $5. So it's not that much really, but same time it will play a crucial role to maintain this project, because if you know, $5 may not be much, but if 50 members will join now and pay $5 and support with $5 a month, that's $250, isn't it? That's enough to for example, go to Moscow at least 5 times a month, 5-6 times, and make some content there, as an example for you know. So yes, all the links, by the way, all the links are under this video in description box and in the pinned commenter. Well, I welcome everybody to our Patreon community. Please consider to join. It is very important, because Patreon allows me to know approximate funds that I'm operating with during the month, by the way. While with donations, you never know. For example, yesterday I did not have a single donation, so, and there's so many days like that, right? While on Patreon, I just know with what funds I can operate on monthly basis, and it does makes planning a little bit easier. So yes, all the links on this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And many thanks, of course, many thanks to all the members of our community who supported and continues to support my work. Thank you very much. Without you, this project would not exist 100%. RT is reporting that, well, Israel must end war in Gaza, according to Trump. Interesting. Former US President Donald Trump has urged Israel to bring about fast end to its war with Hamas, arguing that drawn-out conflict is a public relations nightmare for a Jewish state. Speaking to Fox News on Thursday, Trump said the war should end quickly because they are getting decimated with this publicly. And you know, Israel is not very good at public relations. Trump was a close ally of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during his term in the White House, and described himself as history's most pro-Israel US president. He imposed sanctions on Iran at Netanyahu's request, moved the US embassy in Israel to West Jerusalem, and brokered the Abraham Accords, which saw Israel normalize relations with Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates, Morocco, and Sudan. So exactly because Trump was very much acting on behalf of Israel during his first term in office, I was a little bit surprised to see this news that he is calling Netanyahu basically to end hostilities as soon as possible. Well, Trump should mention, and maybe he did, by the way, during this interview. It's only fragments here. Maybe he did, or maybe not. But of course, in my opinion, he should mention that Netanyahu's government should end this hostility because of their casualty numbers among civilians. That's first what comes, life of people, and only then public relations. But only then on 10th or 15th place, public relations, because first is end of hostilities, save as many lives as possible, provide all the necessary humanitarian aid, provide their food, provide their construction materials, rebuilding to start, because Gaza Strip is almost completely destroyed and people need somewhere to live, right? People need roof over their heads. But anyways, from Trump, I was a little surprised to hear from Trump, by the way, that he is calling Israel to end hostilities. He should have a meeting with Netanyahu, at least that was stated earlier, and I mean, he will have opportunity to say it directly to, you know, Israeli Prime Minister. Who knows? Maybe he will listen. RIA Novosti is also reporting that Pentagon confirmed missile attacks on one of its bases in Iraq, although US militaries are saying that as a result of strikes that took place yesterday, no US military personnel was killed or injured. Also, Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that Argentina, by the way, ambassador of Argentina in Russia, Enrique Ignacio Ferrer Vieira stated that Argentina is refusing to join anti-Russian sanctions and expecting cooperation with Russia. Argentina sees no reason why sides should not cooperate, although despite the fact that Argentina is in support of Kyiv regime. So very strange, confusing statements from ambassador of Argentina. Maybe Milei and his government is coming to their senses and realizing that leading country is much more complex that they might thought earlier. I don't know what is happening, but I also was kind of surprised to see this news that Argentina's ambassador is calling for cooperation between Buenos Aires and Moscow. Okay, although of course it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy after what Milei did when he turned away Argentina from BRICS, despite agreements that was in place before he came to power, and because of some statements of Milei. Well, by the way, it's not gonna be easy to build good relationships between Moscow and Buenos Aires, or between BRICS member states and Argentina. It don't work that way, man. But it is interesting. It is interesting to hear these kind of statements about cooperation from Argentina's ambassador. There seems like something is happening in Argentinian leadership. Also, by the way, interesting news that Indian banks are under assault, and you guessed from which side? From US, of course, from collective West. US Ministry of Finances or US Finance Ministry is warning Indian banks that Washington might impose sanctions against them if they will continue to cooperate with Russia, with Russian companies. Well, try, by the way. Every time Washington or London or Brussels makes these crazy statements that they will sanction this and that just because they are doing business with Russia, every time they do this, BRICS member states have more incentive to further increase speed of work on creation of alternative financial and the banking system that is so necessary for this world, alternative to the Western one, extremely weaponized Western one. That okay, you do you, Washington. More you threaten BRICS member states, sooner alternative financial and banking system will be created, and the world will have a breath of fresh air, by the way, because everybody is sick and tired of this bullying of the West. Everybody is sick and tired of it, by the way. Who the hell are you, Washington, to tell India's businesses what to do, when, how, with whom to cooperate, with whom to know? Who the hell are you? I mean, really, who are you, for God's sake, man? Take a look at yourself, man. US is crumbling, and it more intense, increasingly looks like a banana republic, for God's sake, and you are trying to threaten BRICS member states. Holy moly, man, what a stupid people are in charge of US, man. Anyways, let's continue, and well, news about YouTube once again. YouTube in Russia. And unfortunate news because Russian MP Alexander Hinstein made a statement yesterday that internet connection with YouTube will be slowed down in Russia, maybe slowed down in Russia up to 40% this week, and eventually towards the end of next week, speed of internet connection to YouTube may be slowed down up to 70%, which will effectively make YouTube unusable for the vast majority of Russian citizens. And this is very unfortunate, by the way. It's not exactly the blocking of the YouTube, but if people cannot connect, if people cannot download or upload their stuff, if people cannot use YouTube properly, then it's formally it may not be blocking, but practically that's what that means in terms of effectiveness. And it is very unfortunate because just recently Rostelecom was making statements that current issues with the connection with YouTube is Google's fault. That was official statements, right? And a little earlier, press spokesman of the Russian president, Dmitry Peskov, said that Moscow has no plans to block YouTube. And now statements from Hinstein, and he is, as far as I understand, quite influential MP in Russia, in Russia's State Duma or Parliament, and well, and he's, by the way, head of Parliament's committee on informational politics or something. Глава комитета Госдумы по информполитике, whatever that means. So he probably knows what he's talking about, and well, quite unfortunate news. I guess press spokesman of the Russian president, Dmitry Peskov, will be asked today about these developments, and me personally, I'm against blocking of any platforms, really, because I'm all for competition. Let's compete. Yes, we are not in the same situation. I know that perfectly well, by the way. My channel is constantly in shadow ban, right? So I know what am I talking about. And there are other channels, by the way. If they do some anti-Russian stuff, they will receive hundreds of thousands of views because YouTube's algorithm will promote those channels. So I know that is happening. I know I'm in disadvantageous position because I'm a pro-Russian YouTuber, right? Not just pro-Russian, but I'm a Russian YouTuber in Russia right now, and my channel is based in Russia. But still, I think it's better to compete because truth is on our side. And maybe because of their algorithm, I don't have enough same chances to reach wider audience as some other channels that are spreading some Western propaganda because YouTube's algorithm will help them. But because truth is on our side, eventually we will manage to reach wider audience because people will listen to videos from Russian bloggers. They will check this news, and when they realize that, you know what, these guys are telling the truth, they will support whom? Those propagandists of the Western ruling class, or the truth tellers. And once they are sure that this is the truth, they will share this information with their fellow citizens, right? And more people will know what is really going on. But I mean, it seems like some people in Russian leadership prefer blocking straight away, which is a mistake, in my personal opinion. But they're not gonna listen to me, isn't it? Anyways, by the way, this is it. If I would not be able to upload videos on YouTube, by the way, at some point in the future, I will continue to work on Rumble, obviously, on Telegram. I will become more active on Twitter X page of mine. And of course, I will make more and more content on my Patreon and Boosty channel. So I will still work. I will still try to provide a Russian point of view, news from Russia to the public, to the community. Although, of course, I'm not going to be happy if Russian government will make decision to block the YouTube, but what you gonna do about it, man? Let's see how will things develop. Let's see. Maybe decision has not been made yet, and maybe Kremlin will intervene, because I believe in president's administration, they are clever people. They understand that it's better to compete, especially when you know truth is on your side, for God's sake. What you afraid of, you know? And dear friends, I can also understand that many people in Russia are upset with YouTube, because so many channels, Russian channels, have been blocked, and my channel can be blocked at any day, by the way. So there is no Russian channel that is safe from unjust actions from the YouTube's administration. This is also true. But still, I think it's better to try and compete, try to share the word, inform people about real developments, and hopefully this way you will achieve more than just blocking platforms left and right. Anyways, this is it for today's update. Hopefully you will find it interesting and informative, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. I just mentioned extremely aggressive algorithm of YouTube, so yes, likes, comments are only way we can somehow try and influence this algorithm. Also, by the way, if you can please share information about my channels with your friends in real life and on internet platforms that you are actively using. And finally, if you like my work, if you like my channels, please consider to support. All the links are on this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. Join us on Patreon, by the way. Join our community on Patreon. That will be great. So yes, this is it. Have a great day and take care.